Hello, welcome to Truck Stop Murder and True Crime Podcast. As always, I'm Gary Howard. Hopefully, everybody's doing well. Not anticipating, well, it's here. Winter is here. And currently, I'm in LaSalle, Illinois. And the temperature is like 20, with wind chill factor is 26, 36, but it's probably colder elsewhere, but that's where I'm at right now. But anyhow, if you're a return listener, thank you for coming back and listening to me. And if you're a new listener, what I do is I'm a truck driver. I work for Prima Express. I travel to 48 continental states, and during this time I stay at truck stops for my 10-hour break, and and during my resets, this one I record this. But during this, I have to take a 10-hour break every day, and I stop at these truck stops, and I talk about them truck stops. I talk about a murder. They're like, well, to the truck stops, I talk about what to eat if you're traveling through there, what's there to eat around it, the reviews of it, and what's all about what this truck stop has to offer. And I talk about a murder that I find around it or nearby it. I try to stay pretty close I can, but sometimes you can't. I'm still trying to find one. Well, I do have one with a murder that happened at the truck stop itself. I'm gonna do a little research. That was in Nashville. There's probably more, but this one right here happened not too far south from where I stopped at. The truck stop I stopped at here was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the case was in Broken Arrow. But as always, before I get started, please rate and review. I'm still really trying to grow. This has been out for like a year and a half now, and I'm really trying to grow this. I started this YouTube channel. You can look that up: Truck Stop Murder and True Crime Podcast, or Truck Stop Murder and True Crime. Please help me grow that up because eventually I want to go live on that. But YouTube has a standard that you have to have 1,000 subscribers, which I'm nowhere near that to go live. I like to go live on some of these locations I go to. So also rate and review on your podcast platform so I could get noticed. Maybe I could, and also with my Patreon. Well, I'll get that at the end of the episode. But anyhow, yeah, today's episode brings me to the Quick Trip store in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I thought about just getting rid of this whole truck stop, but my wife decided that's what makes me unique to just keep doing it. So I said, okay, yes, ma'am. But yeah, this Quick Trip store number 71 is on 165th Avenue, exit 238 on I-44, which is a toll road, I believe. Well, I don't think it turns into a toll road till after you leave Tulsa, but maybe I could be wrong. But no, I think it is a toll road, to be honest with you. But no, because I know in some places between Oklahoma City to Tulsa, and then from Tulsa to Joplin, Missouri, that's 44 is pretty much a toll road through the whole way. But I'm not for sure about that little area through Tulsa. I'm not for sure. But yeah, people like this truck stop. It's a 4.5 review. So on Trucker's Path, all this information, as always, is from Trucker's Path. So it has a 4.5 review with 139 reviews. Now, this is not necessarily a truck stop. It's kind of like a convenience store. Quick Trip, a lot of these Quick Trips you see, I think in the Midwest, I see a lot of them. There's a few of them right there in Tulsa, but they have trucking spots, they have diesel, so they're like a truck stop, but also like a convenience store too. It does have 33 parking spots. Now, the first time I ever parked here, they had a bunch of them reserved, but since then they got rid of that. You can overnight parking. There's no showers or tire care or anything like that. But yeah, it's not too bad. But like it's near Tulsa, so you're by a big city, and it is full. Pretty much all the time. You might be lucky to catch one or two spots. When the reviews show that they did find one spot, and one person is not very happy about what the review of these were because they're on Trucker's Path. They gives you what drivers are reporting, if it's full, some spots are empty. And right now, as of 4 hours ago, the last driver reported it's full. Diesel prices there are $3.22 a gallon. DEF is $2.79. Yep. What's that saying? No, I'm not going to say it. Never mind. But anyhow, so if you're traveling through Oklahoma, through Tulsa to get to Oklahoma City or Joplin, or you're just visiting Tulsa and you come by this place and you need to get gas or something and food, well, here's where you can eat at. Burger King across the highway, and whatever they have at the Quick Trip. That's it. But they do have a decent restaurant in the Quick Trip, so it has a 4-point rating. So there's plenty of food. Also, if you go in this place thirsty and you leave thirsty, you're just picky. You're way too picky because this place has tons of drinks. They have, I'm not making this up. All quick trips that I've seen has been like this, where they'll have like 15 types of slushies, 15 types of iced tea. Now these are all dispensary, not in the refrigerator. You still have all the stuff that's in the refrigerators, fridges, but these are dispensers. Then have like 12 types of coffees, 12, 15 types of iced tea, 15 type of slushies. They have a drink of every shape and form. Another thing funny about this place is, and on one of these days I'm gonna record them. I'm hoping to, but something about pointing a camera or recording somebody just seems very rude. So I haven't been able to. But one of the cashiers that worked there, I don't know if it's mentally handicapped or whatever, but he or like the sound what's that movie Tom Cruise was in where the guy, I can't think what it was. Maybe you can help me, but I think it's autistic. I think he was where he actually, as he's checking people in and out, he's actually like an auction. And I'm not even gonna try it because I'll sound like a fucking idiot on here. But yeah, he's like an auctioneer cashing in about $5, $5, this. You get change for this. You have a good day, sir. And that's all day. So I sat there for a few minutes watching him, but eventually I'll try to get a video of him and discreetly and not let him know. But yeah, let's see what people think about this place. Like I said, this place is in Tulsa, Oklahoma, not too far from where the case I'm gonna cover is. And a lot of them are 5 stars, a lot whatever. One actual. Remember I told you 4 star. One actual parking spot left. Couple creative spots as well. 3:43 p.m. on 10/10/21. But yeah, there is. I parked in some places. There's some areas where and they won't run you out. I parked between the fuel pumps and the gas pumps. There's a little area there where there's that nobody, nothing was said. Now here's the guy that's not happy, and I'm trying to figure this out. Thanks to the canoe that marked as many spots, I'm oversized and showed up 12 minutes after you posted to find it overfull. Too late to move on. Had to park on the road, do everybody a favor, and take a high dive off into a shallow pool. Yep. Excellent. Excellent. Another 4 star review. I don't freaking QTs, but this one impressed me. The brisket tacos was excellent. Easy parking. Yeah, the park is not too bad as long as there's not a backing in the fuel aisle. There's a straight back in on this place. I do know that great place to do a 34. Yep, that's true. If you get a spot, hotels in nearby, well maintained. Another 4 stars. Like I said, a lot of people like this. Lot was very clean, well maintained, better than most lots or spots to maneuver. Not allowed parking though. Friendly staff. Pricey, cheap fuel. Whatever. Pricey, cheap fuel. Okay, I get it now. The fuel's not good. And let's keep on going. I saw one that was really hilarious. Hope I can find it. Like I said, all these are from Clean Restrooms, 4 star review. Here you go. Shit, just say stay. The shit says SH1T just stays full all the time. Poorly local yokels. Don't stop again. Don't waste your time. Well, whatever. I guess he expects everybody. People just give up parking spots for him. I don't know. The cows across the street look like they're having fun. Okay. But yeah, there you go. There's the reviews for the quick stop, and here you go. 1 star. I was looking for a 1 star. Bunch of lazy, retarded bums. Filled all the time. Don't bother even looking here for a spot. Stupid drivers don't realize their wheels are not rolling. They're not making money, and these are the same people who complain that they don't make money, sitting in truck stops and doing nothing. Clearly, tells me this post tells me that he likes to violate his DOT hours because you can only drive. Am I familiar with the DOT? If you're not a truck driver during the day, once you clock in for the beginning of your duty shift, you have to take an 8 hour break. And every consecutive 8 hours, you have to take a 30-minute break, whether you're driving or not. That time starts ticking. Now through a day, you can only drive 11 hours, and from the time you check in, start your day. 14 hours from there, you have to shut down for a 10-hour break. So maybe these guys are taking a 10-hour break. Also, in the 8-day period, you're only allowed to be on duty for 70 hours. But if you do a reset, that's what the 34 was, you get another 70 hours. So maybe these people were doing a reset, doing it illegally. Clearly, he is not doing that. Another 1 star review. All quick QuickTrip should be rebuilt for truckers' amenities. The only thing that's not there is the a workshop, a diesel mechanic shop. But here's the thing: there's a shop right next door. One last time I had to spend some time there, I did a reset. Is because my truck had some issues. Had to do a force regen on it, but I could not do it myself. So I ended up there, and then just dropped my trailer, bobbed to over there. They did the force regen. I came back, finished my 34, and left. It's literally right next door to the place. And so anyhow, there you have it. There's the quick trip in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now on to our murders, and like I said, this one here, if not mentioned already, this is one crazy case. Fourth warning right now: children are going to get murdered in this one. It's about a murder of a family, a bunch of young children by family members. Now I've seen a few people do this on YouTube, but as for podcasts, I've not seen too many people do that. I thought one of my other favorite podcasts I listen to, Small Town Murder, probably really covered this good, but they're not. This is the 100,000 people, and so that's not them. So guess what? I get to do that. So here I am, and murder I'm talking about is the Bever brothers, the Bever brothers massacre. First, let's talk about a little bit about Broken Arrow. Broken Arrow was a pretty safe town. I mean, it probably still is. Broken Arrow was named the 11th safest city in the country at the time, and Broken Arrow was ranked the 11th in the United States by MoneyGeek.com. It also is the highest ranking city in Oklahoma. So it's a really good city to live in, safe city, United States. In a press release, Police Chief Brandon Berryhill created the support of Broken Hill residents, the city council and administration, and the Broken Hill Department personnel for the ranking. So it's a really nice neighborhood to grow up into. There really weren't murders, so what I'm about to tell you really rocked this, the community really bad. So the community support is virtual. Well, anyhow, let's see what the tweet what this moneybank.com ranked Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, an 11th safest city out of 303 cities with over 100,000 population. That's why I don't think the other show would be able to do it. And assess the safest cities. Money King analyzes this is how they figured this out. From crime data, including violent crimes such as murder, rape, and aggravated assault, and property crimes such as home burglary and motor vehicle theft. Money Geek calculates each city cost of crime and rank the cities based on the cost of crime per capita. Additionally, researchers have qualified how much more violent crimes cost in the community than property crimes. Broken Arrow has the highest ranking city for Oklahoma in the Money Geek. So yeah, this was a very safe. Nobody, probably one of them towns like Mayberry, even with 100,000 people in it, where everybody kept the doors locked and kept to himself and was face. And a little history about this town. I was really got into it about Broken Arrow because I know this is like Oklahoma is really like an Indian Nation state. A lot of tribes there, reservations, I guess. But how this city was named, the city's name came from an Oak Creek community, which I found this was interesting. The city's name came from an Oak Creek community in Alabama. Members of the community were expelled from Alabama by the United States government along the Trail of Tears in 1830. The creek, if you want to know more about that, I don't even know why I'm plugging these podcasts, and they won't even think about talking about me. These are the ones I supported for a while, but I won't get on that rat. But I'll still mention it. But if you want to listen to a good story about Trail of Tears, Dan Cummings over in Time Suck did a really good episode on that. So we'll learn all the what we did to these Native Americans during that time. Give me a listen. Yeah, the creek founded a new community in Indian Territory and named it after the old settlement in Alabama. The town's creek name pronounced Dalia Kawithkal, and I tried every way to pronounce this. It's pronounced Thlee, Thlee dash Kawtch dash Cu. So Tathlia Kawitka, meaning Broken Arrow. The new creek settlement was located several miles south of present-day Broken Arrow. So it wasn't really in Broken Arrow. They built their city probably close to it, and that's probably where the reservation still is. The community of Elam is located in present-day Broken Arrow near 145th Avenue and 111th Street begun around 1901. It consists of a cluster of stores, a cotton gin, and a few homes. So yeah, there you go. So it was a fairly safe city until 2000. If this one incident really opened people's eyes up because they weren't used to this being so safe, and if something like this happens. So let's talk about the Bever families. First off, we have the main man of the house, David Dennis Bever. He was born September 28th, 1962. He's from Daytona, Florida. Over from there, he kind of like moved around. He found himself in Indiana, Illinois, Indiana for a while, moved, but eventually in Indiana is where he met, no, Illinois, where he met his wife, April Levrain, Levern, Sharp, Sharpie, Sharp, Sharpe. And here's the thing which baffled me: when they got married, he was 25 years old, yet she was only 15 years old. In fact, they ended up getting married from there. And I don't know how they moved to Texas, to Greystone, Texas, where they got married. And they had to get the permission of course, her family, to bless off on the wedding, which they did. And like I said, I'm going to stop right there because once you learn what happened afterwards, you're going to say, well, you're victim shaming them. They ain't got nothing to do with it. They had, but still, something about 25-year-old and 15-year-old. So the family consisted of course, like Beaver Bever was born 1962. Of course, I give you date. April Bever was born in Bloomington, Illinois, on April 11th, 1971. Now they got married while she was 15, like I mentioned, but it wasn't because she was pregnant or anything like that. Because since they did get married April 11th, 1970, and wait, January 31st, 1987, they would not have their first child until 1996. And here's one of the reasons why I had this episode done a little bit ago, but the reason why I just really didn't know if I should put these names out there, because what happens is before recognition, and I'll get that. So I didn't know if but I'm just gonna say their names. Everybody else, you're gonna look it up and say, well, who are these guys' names? But I know another, so I'm just gonna say, but Robert, he was born in 1996. So it was a while before they had their first kid. 9 years, if my name is right, if I'm right, math is right. And then 1998, they'll have their second son, born Michael. Then Crystal, they will have their first girl in 2002. Daniel, another boy, 2003. Christopher in 2008. Victoria, 2010. And finally, Autumn, 2013, which is, I love that name, little girl. Seen pictures of pretty as can be, a little button. They're cute. But yeah, so they had 7 children. So there was a big family. And that's what brings us to Broken Arrow. He worked as a tech support. He worked as a tech consultant, so he was able to work at home, and also he worked for HP Enterprises, so he could work at home because it's more computer work, a technical job. So he was able to build up an office at his house, and also and it had an office in his business. So what that gave that more time for also her. This is what happens when I try to talk too fast. And I know it. That's the thing, and I still do it. But yeah, but that left the wife to be able to April to stay at home and homeschool the kids. They're a very religious family. In fact, a lot of neighbors said they really did not know much about them. They kind of kept to themselves, kind of reclusive to themselves, and they would see the kids going out. In fact, until this happened, a lot of people didn't really even know their names. So, what happened? Why am I talking about this family? Let's talk about them. And I think here's the thing: they were very religious, and they try to keep the whole outside world. You keep their kids away from the outside world, but on the same sense, they would allow the outside world to come into them. They really did not monitor their kids. Like, they let them use the internet a lot. They let them use cell phones and technology, stuff like that. So they're able to get out there. So they're able to get a knowledge of what's going on in the outside world, but the outside world was not coming in. And unfortunately, that was what the older boys, Robert and Michael, actually looked at. They were really into serial killers And during this when the Columbine shooting was going on, and also during this time, their mother, I'm gonna bring this up, was really big in Reddit. She had made some. She was really active on Reddit. So I guess she was doing the houseworks, and she managed to keep. The kids wasn't going. They weren't living a luxurious lifestyle, but they were doing good for what they had with the one income. So they were doing best. As you can see, they had a family, but they kind of spreaded it out. So I'm guessing maybe they had a child and kind of built up to where they had 7 kids. But yeah, she was really active on Reddit. And the two posts that I saw on Reddit, I looked it up, which you can still look it up on user a a Hokie AOKIE mom. That's still up. So you can still find that if you want to scroll through all of them, you can. But one of the a couple of the messages that I saw that I want to share with you. One was 7 years before 2000. All this happened in 2015. So this was probably right around the time this happened was 7 years ago when I quote when I copy this. It says she said a few years ago my daughter was on a Barbie designing a personal doll where they were selling. She put her name Crystal, Crystal, and it told her that it was a bad name. She was crying and showed it to her dad. I ended up going as high as the VP of the online division. He apologized. He says because of a crystal crystal method block. So they thought she was going to put crystal meth on this Barbie doll. She got a customized Barbie with her name on it and a $100 gift card. She kept it in an original box with a note, everything in it. She never really opened it up. So, but yeah, then she looked up later. She goes, "Oh, crystal meth. My phone changed it." Yes, they did say they had a lot of things blocked because they did not want Barbie wearing shirts with that on it, which I understand. Next was I was she said I was 15 when I got married in Texas in 1987. Parents had to sign a form. Was not pregnant. Still married to the same guy. 7 kids later. Not letting my daughter, but it worked for us. I live in Oklahoma at time. In Oklahoma, I could have if I, in Oklahoma I could have if I had been pregnant. I don't know. I guess in Oklahoma I could have if I had gotten pregnant. So she has a total of 160 posts on Reddit. So let's talk about the people, the two brothers who did all this stuff. First, we have, like I said, Robert Bever, which is really big on the serial killers. The combine. He really was fascinated by that. And of course, since they're there all the time, of course, Michael looked up to him. As a matter of fact, you can still find he created a YouTube, Colton Empire Official. I think it is. It's still up. He only has like 4 or 5 videos, but he was just kind of a YouTube vlogger, I guess, and he really got his brother involved in it. But from that point, they really wanted to get into they love watching serial killer movies, and he was really fascinated with the con mind, and they really wanted to live that lifestyle. So one day they came up with the plan. Their plan is they were going to to get a bunch of weapons, and then go cross countries and try to kill as many people as they can. I've heard the death count row in either from 100 to 200 all the way up to 500. So during this time, Robert ended up getting a job at a call center where people call in, request prayer requests, and he'll pray for them for a fee, of course. And with this money, what he started doing is him and Michael started collecting weapons, buying a bunch of knives online. And matter of fact, at one point, Crystal was even kind of nervous about it because they had mentioned that we're gonna kill you all. She thought it was just a joke. So Crystal went to her mother and father and told them about it, and they didn't seem too much concerned about it. Her April was like, "Well, boys will be boys," where David, the father, said, "You just talking about how they're wasting their money on it. They need to learn money responsibilities." But yeah, Crystal was never, maybe they should heed their warning. So that by that time they found this is when then my Robert turned 18, and then he learned that he could actually buy guns online. So, and I guess Oklahoma laws are really lenient on this, where you can just buy it online, and as long as you go pick it up at the gun store with a valid ID, you'll be able to do that. But so they did that with the money that Robert earned from the call center, and also ordered thousands of rounds. And so they're going to do that. But the problem was the Browns was coming in the mail. They had to pick up the weapons from the gun store itself, but the ammunition was coming from going to the house, and they're like, "We can't have that." Our parents might be okay with all these knives and stuff like that, but if 3,000 rounds of ammunition show up, they're gonna be like, "Well, what's going on with this?" So by that time, they started their plan. They saw that ammunition was going to show up on July 23rd. Now they've been planning this for a while. They'll have dinner, then they sneak up and they'll talk about it, what they're going to do, and also they're also purchasing. Failed to mention this earlier, but they also ordered body armor for themselves. So body armor, they got a bunch of knives, they got guns coming to the gun shop, and then 3,000 rounds of ammunition on the 23rd coming in. But like I said, their parents were going to be there, so they're going, and they had to get rid of them. So on July 22nd, they decided that's the day to do it. The plan's in motion. So keep in mind also these kids were 16 and 18. Michael was 16 at the time, and Robert. So everything they learned about this came off the internet and different movies and stuff like that. So what I'm about to tell you is what they thought was the plan. They thought they were going to kill their family, put them in boxes, put them in attic, wait for a while, clean up everything, make videos of them doing it. Also make videos of them not doing it so they could post it because they're really attention seekers. Like I said, they really want to kill as many people as can, become popular, make their own Wikipedia page, and become famous killers. That's why the last week I've been really debating if I want. That's why I haven't recorded early because I didn't. Should I say their names? But they were teenagers at the time, and that's what really convinced me to do it. Even though Robert was 18, I've done episodes in the past. They said the frontal lobe of the brain, they controls conscious and don't really develop until when you're age 24. So I decided why not. But yeah, July 22nd, the plan's in motion. So Chris, as they're putting her bodyguard armor on, they sent Crystal was sent up by her mother to go ahead and to tell the boys to come down and do the dishes. But when Crystal walked in the bedroom, that's when she noticed them putting on their armor. So Michael looked at Robert and said, "Should we do this?" And he said, "Yeah." And of course, Crystal was not unaware of what they were talking about. So Michael brought her over to the computer and told her to look at something. By that time, Robert came up behind her and slit her throat. And I believe what he thought was going to happen didn't happen. Like I said, with the movies, when somebody gets their throat cut, they just fall over dead, and they were going to go each one and do the same thing. But when they cut her throat and it didn't work out that way, she started screaming real loud. They started stabbing her. And of course, her mom heard that. April heard this and went running after him. Ran up there to see what was going on. By that time, Crystal was able to escape the house. So when the boys saw their mom, they ended up attacking her as well, stabbing her a total of 40. She was 42 at times, stabbing her 48 times a total. So that's when Daniel, the oldest brother, not Michael, but the 12-year-old brother of them, came out and saw what was transpiring. They tried to attack him. That's when he was able to run in David Bever's, the father's office that he had there, and was able to call 911. So the 911 is, I thought about recording it, but yeah, the 911 answered. And so you have little Daniel here saying help, and she was like, who you need help from? She said, my brothers are he said, my brothers are attacking me. She said, who, your father? No, my brothers. So he was locked in the room. This is how Michael was able to get in there. He was banging on the door asking for help, saying, help me, Robert's going to kill me. So of course Daniel helped him out. So when Daniel came and opened the door, that's when they attacked him on the 911 call. You actually could hear him saying, no, Michael, no. And that's when they attacked him. And then the other two children, Victoria and Christopher, they took off into the bathroom. And by the way, Daniel Bever was stabbed 21 times. So these kids was very, there's a lot of anger in this. Like mother was 48, poor Daniel 21 times. So the other two, Christopher and Victoria, they ran off into the bathroom, tried to hide from him. And that's where Michael did the same thing, where he'd bang on the door, try to get them to help. They want to help their big brother, screaming, help me, Robert's gone crazy. He's trying to kill me. And so they opened up the door. That's when they came in. And that's where they killed them two. They attacked Christopher first, where Victoria kind of hid in the corner. Christopher was stabbed 21 times. And then Victoria went to stabbed her 23 more times. And keep in mind, the father's still there. He slept through all of this. David, so finally he woke up and he went out to go, confront the boys. where Robert grabbed the biggest knife he had and attacked him and stabbed him 28 times. So there was a lot of stabbing going on here. I don't know how these. If you ever see pictures of these boys, they're not big people, and I'm one. Try this out. Get yourself a pot roast or a brisket. Maybe a brisket, probably best. Get your knife and just viciously stab it 10 times. Tell me your arm is not tired. I did the math on this. We're talking 100, around 150 times these two boys. So that's 75 vicious stabs a piece that they stabbed. So now this time, Crystal was able to get out of the house. She was in the front, but as she was walking, she noticed some of her intestines was hanging out, so she passed out. So they went out and pulled her back in, but because of Daniel called 911, the police was already there. They heard the police coming, so they scurried out the back door and hid, leaving young 2-year-old Autumn unharmed, still sleeping in her crib. Later interviews would say they had planned on killing her too. They had planned on chopping off her head. So yeah, so they're out in the back hiding. So the police show up, and first they didn't know what it was. It was just they didn't know how severe what happened in this house. So first they saw blood on front of the door, and they kind of knocked on the door where they heard a little slight moaning for help. So that was their cause for going in house. That's where they found Crystal laying there, still alive, breathing. The ambulance took her off, where fortunately she did survive. So they started because they didn't know if the killers were still in the house. So they went room from room from. That's when they really found how the bloody mess was in his house, how horrible it was. Then when they came across each individual, first they came across April Bever in the hallway, and then that's when they came 52-year-old David Bever, Daniel Bever, but then they saw a door that was closed, and that's where they found Christopher and Victoria. Some of the first responders had to go through a lot of counseling because they could not get that image out of their mind. So the only people they could not find was Robert and Michael. Where are these two? So the only place it happened was they saw the back door open. So they ran off in the woods. There's a wooded area behind their house. So they sent the dogs out. And keep in mind, this is where I think it's crazy. Robert was the really big gung-ho person, where Michael was kind of like the submissive person following. But once they did find him, Robert gave up right away. Where Michael put up a fight. So if you ever see the pictures, you see the shirts ripped. That was because of Mike, because they had to send a dog in after him. So they arrest him. There's a bunch of pictures online about what they looked like. They were pretty messy, bloody. But they took him in, and Michael's interrogation video is on YouTube. You could find Michael's, but Robert is not. They decided to keep Robert's interrogation closed because he was super happy. In fact, as they're being led to the cop cars, Robert looked back at Michael and told him, "Well done." He believed by killing as many people that he did, it made him godlike. So he was definitely, I believe that the internet really, ruined his mind. He thought it was just, I don't know. It was big on story. But anyhow, Michael, you can find Michael's interrogation. He denied all this stuff. Eventually, he did confess a stabbing his mother a couple times, and he also said he killed Christopher. But at first, he was scared. He did not want to do that, but he was afraid that Robert was going to kill him as well. Which later on, it coming out, it was all bullshit because this was all premeditated a long time ago. Plus, because he was knocking on the doors trying to get him to come out so Robert could kill him. It tells me that he was just as part of it as Robert was. But you can find that whole interview on YouTube. So, what happened to these boys? Where is Robert? So Robert, to plead not to get the death penalty, they were seeking the death penalty for this, but to avoid the death penalty, it happened in 2016, a year after the tragedy. He went ahead and pled guilty to 5 counts of first-degree murder and 1 account of assault and or battery with a deadly weapon. That was Crystal because she survived. And that's what he got. So life without parole for this guy. Later on, he would get more time added to him because while he was in prison, he would actually text some of the people there in the day room with a knife, but was stopped right away. So he got 3 additional life sentences for first he got carrying weapons, drugs, and alcohol into jail, assault, or 2 cases of assault and battery with dangerous weapon. So he is not going to get out for a while. So that's pretty much all about Robert. He is detained. Let me see. I had the prison Joseph Harp Correctional Center in not north of Oklahoma Lexington. So there you go. Now Mike, on the other hand, he was not going. He's not going. Just like in the woods, he is not going down with a fight. He actually pled not guilty, reason of sanity. Now they were trying to get the death penalty for him too, but they said the prosecution wanted to because of the severity of it and the way the actions was, how he coerced his younger brothers to open the door so they could open the door literally to their death. They thought there was a safe refuge by letting their brother Mike. They're helping their brother Michael or not. So at this time, Crystal had to come in and testify against this. Actually, Crystal, they're trying to figure out why did they do this. Crystal mentioned that I don't know how. Well, it's probably true because he was like a dictator. A lot of people, and she said that he was very abusive to the kids, and a lot of times she would witness them. And David throw her mother across the room, and they're very, very strict. Lot of discipline in this house. But they don't think that was it. They'll just think their thrive to become popular. And so through a monitor, she went, testified all the stuff. She testified how they attacked her, how they had planned previously to do this. So of course he was found guilty. Be gone with you. Don't join your brother. You're going to a different facility. He got charged with 5 degrees, just like his brother, first-degree murder and 1 degree assault with intent to kill, and got life without parole. So he is currently in the Lexington Correctional Center in Lexington. They're both around the same area, but in different facilities. And so either one of them, and they will not be together. And as for Crystal and Autumn, they're actually, I'm happy to hear this, they're actually adopted by the same family. So that is good. They get to live their life. Of course, Crystal probably has to go through all kinds of counseling because of his event. And Autumn being 2 years old and slept through it all, she probably don't remember. She probably have some questions, probably want to learn about it. But yeah, that was 2015. So she was two there. So she's about 13-year-old. She was the same age as Crystal was when this happened, but she's with the same family. So there you go, the Bever family. And actually, the house that stood on that they were at in Broken Arrow, a lot of people wanted it tore down because of the tragedy that happened. And the city tried to buy the lease out and try to make it a park, first responders park. But in 2017, I think I did the dates right. 2017, it burnt down. And nobody knows how it burnt down or who burnt it down or nothing, but it got burnt down beyond repair. So they just bulldozed it and they made the park called Reflection Park, kind of reflect the life. So that's in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. So if you want to go by and check that out, I'm hoping to one day. But like I'm in a big rig, so it's kind of hard for I didn't say that, but I said in past episodes, it's kind of hard for me to go anywhere. I go everywhere, but I go nowhere because of the big truck limits me. But yeah, that's the murders of the Bever family. And like I said, this is one of them cases where it's crazy. Two kids, teenagers kill their whole family for notoriety. They just, with, a matter of fact, Robert never ever had any remorse about what he did. I do apologize if I'm kind of word buffalo or everything, but yeah, this is a case that really kind of got to me a little bit because it's just how the whole family's murdered and how Michael asked their little brothers for help and they helped them, and in return they got murdered. But yeah, this is a case that nobody's really covered. The Bever family massacre, Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. And now you know it. But anyhow, if you like to tell my story, kind of muffled my mush mouth through it, go ahead and rate and review everywhere you can. Also check out my YouTube channel, Truck.Murder, and rate and review anywhere you can. Actually, anything will help. I do have a Patreon. I gotta check it out, see if it's still up and running. But it's Truck.Murder. If you want to throw me a few bucks during PayPal, trucks.murder@gmail.com, maybe get some better equipment. That would be amazing. And also, I do Monday morning murder. This next Monday morning murder would be on my birthday on the 15th tomorrow. I got 3 cases. Normally, I did a lot of them been in Texas, but this one I cover a few other ones. A couple of cases, 2 that I'm never going to do because everybody's covered them. And there's nothing more that I can say that everybody else has not said already. And another one with a weird. But yeah, there you have it. Bever Family Murders, Monday morning murder. Rate and review. Check out my YouTube channel. Also, my TikTok. sceneries and cemeteries. I do because I'm a truck driver. I do travel around the United States a lot. Go check that out if you don't mind. And that's the show. And as I always say, you can't fix stupid, but you can sure numb it with a 2x4. I'm out of here.